Yala Sangha. This is day 15 of our 31 days of yoga. I hope you're well and enjoying this process. Behind me there's different teachers. There's my own teachers, the A.G. Mohan and Indra Mohan. There's their teacher, Krishnamacharya, who taught many of the most significant teachers in yoga. And on the opposite side here is Amma. And Amma says that when we practice, we have a little bit of a light, but when we practice together, all those lights come together, okay? So that it becomes much brighter and more significant as a community. She is known as the Hugging Saint. I have been to her programs in London a couple of times and volunteered there. She's a pretty incredible lady. You should look her up. She has universities and all sorts of charities and works with the poor in India. And yeah, she's some people consider her to be divine. So, but we're all divine. So, okay. Today we're going to do some all fours practice, and then we'll come up into horse stance for our movement. I'm just watching Thompson, he's noticed something outside. Okay, so if the sound drops out ever, I know it's dropped out yesterday a little bit. I'm really sorry, I'm trying to work out why that's happening. But I thank you for your patience. Okay, bring your hands forward and your knees towards the middle. And again, moving anything that's in your way, out the way. And again, lift and lay. Remember, crawling is part of our practice. Changing the position of our hands, going wider with our knees, going backwards and forwards with our hips, seeing how that feels. Okay. So use this all fours position to get some spinal mobility, okay? And what's useful is to start at the very base of your spine and try and feel the two sockets of your hips as you tilt your pelvis in and out. So notice how that feels as you turn in, turn out. And then let it start to spread up through your spine into cat posture. And then start from the base again, feeling the turn in your pelvis, and let that bring you to cow posture. And go through these two movements. Well, there's multiple movements. Cat posture, cow posture. Good. And then start to what my friend has called disco cat, where you're kind of taking your spine. And the movement we tried the other day, like the skipping rope movement or the inside the barrel movement, okay? And tuck underneath your toes, let your hips come back toward your heels and open up into your down dog today. And what we're going to do is take our down dog into a squat. So we'll keep our hands where they are. You can bring them a little further back if that feels like the starting position that you need. And then bend both knees and sink your hips. Okay. Then from there, lift your hips back up. Take a step a couple inches forward. And sink your hips down and your heels down. Good. Come back up. A little bit further forward again. And we're just doing this all the way to our hands. So we get a squat in. And we get a down dog in, and our down dog becomes smaller and shorter. And actually what my friends have called this in the States is when your down dog gets so small, it's actually a chihuahua because it's a wee dog. Bring your hips up, come a little closer, again into your squat. And then when you get to your squat, just let it open up. And maybe you want to take your squat into your mini cartwheel, okay? to one side, landing as gently and as controlled as you can. Okay, good. You can bring your squat closer together. Now some people have so much flexibility in this position with their feet together, their heels are on the ground. Remember, you always have the option of placing them underneath your heels, okay, and sitting into this a bit more, and then we can practice this movement again. Remember, use your hands if you want to, lowering your knees down, okay, and then slowly bringing them back up, okay. You can push all the way up to a standing position, okay. So you can do that with something underneath your heels, not necessarily with something underneath your heels, whatever you want, okay. But let's try it coming down and go through the whole sequence. So reach your hands out. This is sometimes nice and it's helpful for coming down. Bend both knees, sink your hips all the way down. Once you get down here, can you control the movement either with or without your hands to place your knees down, okay. Lift your hips up, point your toes away, sink your hips down, okay. Good. Give your glutes a little massage. Lift your hips up, tuck your toes under. Good. See if you can get your knees up the floor and push all the way up. Okay. Quite strong, right? So don't worry if your legs feel a bit uncomfortable when you have to use your hands. Let's do one more round, okay? Coming all the way down. Hips down towards the floor. Good. If it feels okay, let your knees come forward and down, okay. Let your hips come up. Point your toes away. Hips back down, okay. Hips up, tuck under. Hips down on your heels. Knees up. If you lose your balance, that's okay. You can turn it into like a wider squat if you want to, and then push all the way up. Good. Shake off both hands, both legs. Let's take your feet a bit wider today. Bend both knees and sink your hips between them and move between the weight on one side and the weight on the other side. Sink a little bit lower if you can sink a little bit lower. Okay. Come back towards the center. Bring your palms together and send your chest forward and your knees back. Feel everything engaged, right? Strong legs, strong buttocks, strong smile. Inhale, straight arms, straight legs. Exhale, go wide, bend your knees and sink your hips. Let's try that twice more. Inhale, long, exhale, wide and sinking. Last one. Good, okay. And then from side to side again. Good. Come to the center, bring your hands on your thighs, point your fingers inside, and bring one shoulder towards the opposite knee. Come back towards the center, bring the other shoulder towards the other knee. And try this movement a few times. Turning. Maybe inhaling up and exhaling down if that's helpful for you. Good. From here, come back to the center. Point your fingers out this time. Bring your one hand up, whatever hand you want, and reach over. Come all the way back to the center, inhaling up, and exhale, reach over. Come back again. Inhale and exhale. Try again. Inhale and exhale. One more time either side if your legs can cope. And come back to the center, bring your palms together, straighten through your legs. Okay. Step both legs in and give everything a bit of a shake off. For our balance today, We're going to try a slightly different posture. So take your weight through your left foot or your right foot, whatever one you want to start with, and place the other foot into like a figure of four shape. Okay. Now to let that balance a little easier rather than slide, soften through the other knee. Sink a little lower with your hips. Relax this leg. Okay, relax the higher leg. Reach your hands out in front. Sink a little bit lower. Okay, so that practice we did earlier on with both legs is helping with this. Inhale, reach up with both arms. And sink a little bit lower. Now if you feel okay and your balance is okay, hand on the knee, hand on the foot. Use a door, use a wall if you need to. It's not wrong, it's just like practice. And then if you can lean forward, your chest towards your legs, you can bring your fingertips on the floor if that feels okay. Or your hands flat on the floor if that feels okay. Breathing into this. Bend your standing leg. Inhale, sweep all the way up. And exhale, come up and shake off. It's quite tricky posture, right? But there's things we can do to practice it. In a couple of days, we're going to do another standing practice, which involves Utkatasana, chair posture, and we'll use that as our to develop this posture. So if this posture is hard today, there's lots of aspects of it we can break down and build up. So take your weight through your other foot. Bring this leg up. See how this one feels. Soften through your knee. Bring your palms together if that feels okay. Take a breath. Then reach out and sink a little lower. Good. See how you're feeling with this. Try and breathe slowly. Relax where you can relax. And bring your hands up. Sink a little lower. Let one hand come on the knee, one hand on the foot. Slowly go forward. Let your fingertips reach forward. Your palms come flat if you're have that kind of flexibility in your hips and your legs. And then bend your standing leg. Reach your arms up. Push all the way up. Keep a smile on your face and come down. Shake off both arms, both legs. Nice, roll your shoulders, get nice and loose. And then see if you can sit down from here without using your hands too much. Okay, good. Let your knees come wider, the soles of your feet come together, your knees bounce up and down. So this is called Baddha Konasana, cobbler's posture. And sometimes when you're in India, you'll see the cobblers and they'll put your flip-flops or your shoes between their feet as they sew and fix and repair your shoes. The kids call this butterfly. So the kids really have beautiful names for some of the yoga postures. And then from there, see if you can hold around either the outside edge of each foot or your big toes or your ankles or just your knees, whatever are underneath your thighs. Take hold of something and let your weight go back. Good. Reach out with your left foot. Bring it back in. Reach out with your right foot. Bring it back in. If you can, start to reach out with both feet. Maybe look up. And bring it back in. Good. Cross at the ankles. Shuffle your hips slightly back. If you want to sit on your cushion, whatever cushion you're using today, sit on that. We've got a little bit more movement before we come to our breathing and settling and getting ready for today. Take an inhale. Sit a little taller. Exhale, take your fingers forward. Push your palms out. Bring your arms all the way up behind. Reach a little further back. And then let your hands come behind your back. clasp them, draw your fingers towards the floor, and then bring them away. Good. So you're coming like that. You're kind of reaching out behind. And then shake off. Your wrists, your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms, your shoulders. Roll out through your shoulders. Clasp your hands the opposite way. Remember what we did yesterday? So clasp your hands the way that feels slightly unusual and maybe a little uncomfortable for you. And start here. Take an inhale. Exhale, fingers go forward. Push your palms out, tuck your chin in. Inhale, we're coming all the way up over our head. Reaching slightly back. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Clasp your hands. Draw your fingers towards the floor. Take an inhale, sit a little taller, draw your fingers down a wee bit more. And then exhale, bring your hands away from your back. Okay. And come down. Roll off your shoulders. Shake off your fingers, shake off your wrists, shake off your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms and your shoulders, and bring your hands to rest. I like a little rug underneath my shins to make sure that I'm grounded in the way that I'm comfortable in the way I like to be grounded and comfortable. And today for our breath work, we're going to return to the pause, okay? So yesterday we tried to see what it felt like, one nostril to the other nostril, okay? Today let's return to the practice from a few days ago where we paused, okay? So take a slow, smooth inhale, a pause, a slow, smooth exhale, and a pause. And as soon as you lose your focus upon your breath, which happens really quickly, we're called to be very gentle with ourselves and come back to the focus of our attention, which is the pause in between the inhale and exhale, and between the exhale and inhale. If you want to lie on your back and do this, feel free to lie on your back. And then our final practice today is to scan again. So whether you're lying on your back or lying with your legs against the wall or in a seated position, do this kind of almost like an MRI scanner where our attention starts at the very crown of our head, down through your forehead, down through your eyes, through your ears and your nose. Through your lips and the back of your head. Through your chin, through your throat. Down your shoulders and your chest and your ribs. And your lower back and your belly. And down your arms to your fingers. And your hips to your knees. And through your knees to your ankles. and through your feet and out through your toes. And if you have time where you're maybe in a queue or sitting in a waiting room, do that little scan. Just close your eyes gently and scan through your body. Yala Sangha, thank you everybody for practicing again today. Some horse stands, some all fours, some squatting up and down, some focus on our breath. It's amazing what we can do in 20 minutes, okay? Have a great day. See you tomorrow. If you have a strap or a belt or a scarf, that's what we're going to be using tomorrow. So you might want that handy. Yala Sangha, thank you everybody.